Hello, I'm Jamie, financial planner at Magenta. This video is the first of two, and it's for those of you who are thinking about retirement and planning for it. Now, retirement can be a big psychological and physical shift with lots to think about before and after the event. It is an area of financial advice that we feel with our knowledge and experience we can add a lot of value at Magenta. It is a time of life that a lot of our clients sought financial advice for the first time as they realised it was important to get it right and something that they needed help with. From looking after lots of clients who went through the transition from working to retirement, we've learned a lot along the way. In this video, I'll give you our list of the top 6 things to think about, and in this video, focus on the first 3. In the following video, I'll go into detail on the remaining 3 points. So, the Magenta top 6 things to think about for retirement are: 1, when are you going to retire? 2, how are you going to retire? 3, what will it look like? 4, how are you going to spend? 5, where is the income going to come from? And 6, can you do it DIY or do you need help? So let's think about each of these in a little bit more detail, starting with point number 1. When are you going to retire? Now, it used to be that this decision would typically be taken out of your hands because you'd finish on work on the Friday and your company pension would start on the Monday at, say, 60 or 65. It was very much cut and dried. That is how it worked. But of course, the world is very different these days, and there is no standard as to when people retire now. As financial planners, we believe the answer of when to retire is when you have enough and no longer want or need to work. But what does having enough mean? In financial terms, it means having accumulated enough income and assets which will support you for the rest of your life. Now, this is of course linked to one of the other things that we've mentioned in our top 6, namely expenditure and how you're going to afford it. Some people can work out for themselves whether they have enough, and that's great. But others need help working this out, which can come in the form of professional financial planning. More about this will be covered in the second video. For some people, they like to set a target age and work towards that, such as state pension age, knowing that their guaranteed pension income starts and they can tie in their workplace or personal pension starting or drawing on other assets along with this. For others, it might be forced upon them. For example, health might worsen and mean you can no longer do the job you do. Or, as we see time and again with some of our clients, a friend or family member has a health scare and it makes them think about their own lives and what's important. It could also be because an adult child needs you to help with childcare and you feel that you ought to be able to help. We see this one quite a lot as well. Ultimately, there can be lots of reasons why people choose the time they do to retire. All we can suggest is that you're as intentional about it as you can be and plan. You really want to retire once and do it well. The second thing to think about is, how are you going to retire? Are you dreaming of giving back your door pass and laptop on the Friday, leaving it all behind there and then? Or are you thinking you'd like to keep your mind active, but just leave the faster paced workplace behind? Perhaps you're happy to do some part-time work a couple of days a week, or move into consultancy as and when needed on a more flexible basis. This can, of course, can help to keep your mind active and provide some income, meaning you don't need to rely as heavily on assets or pensions in the early part of retirement. Whether you can do this will partly depend on your line of work and if it allows for this kind of flexibility, and of course partly on what you want as well. This is another one of those decisions which is personal and there is no set formula. This is a common theme when it comes to retirement planning. It is very much a personal thing. So once you've decided how you're going to stop work or phase it out, we think you should give a lot of thought to how you're going to celebrate, because you absolutely should do so. It's a big change in life and it's moving into an exciting new chapter. And so the third and last thing to think about for now, what will it look like? One of the best non-financial pieces of advice I can give to someone approaching retirement is to spend some time really thinking about what day-to-day life is going to be like. I can't speak from my own experience, clearly, but instead from learning from the numerous people we've helped through the retirement journey. Nearly all said later on that the change in day-to-day life was the biggest adjustment for them. So don't underestimate the power that routine has, and what the loss of that can do, I'd go as far as to say that for some people it is a traumatic event. This is especially the case if you're someone who defines themselves by what they do for a living, which is something that typically applies more so to men. The routine and purpose are the two most common things lost when retiring, but the good news is there is so much to be gained. New routines, new purpose, and importantly the valuable commodity that retirement affords you, time. Time to do things you could never do before, time to do the things you've always wanted. Now, the cliche I hear from clients once they're settled into retired life, typically a year or two after it happens, is that they don't know how they ever had time to work. Now, personally, I love hearing this because it usually means that they're living a life full of purpose. So retirement really is an opportunity to do the things that you've always wanted, the opportunity to follow your passions and do things that matter to you. It could be spending more time with family, perhaps helping out with the grandchildren. It could be taking up a hobby you always liked the idea of trying, or it could be travelling to places you've always dreamed of, or returning to somewhere that means something to you. The key is that those who are intentional about their retirement, meaning those who seek help in planning for it, find the transition easier, and it makes the first part so much more enjoyable. Well, I hope this has provided some food for thought. If you've enjoyed the video, it'd be great if you would give it a like, comment, or share with your network. And if you'd like to have a chat about your own circumstances, please drop me a message and I'd be happy to have a chat. Thanks for watching, and keep an eye out for video 2, which should be coming up shortly.